All right, so I was going to read a few of these stories from this article, but I was able to read this full story for weeks until now, where it's just I have to pay to sign up. So, getting to the gist of the of this article is just AI themed replacement of people who lost their jobs to AI. And so, also, I'm segueing to make this something that I empathize with a little bit. So, okay, in one of the first stories, people initially were fired from a radio show in Poland for AI character Alex, and the looming question of using people's likeliness. The late poet Szymborska Wisława, 1996 literature winner who died 12 years ago, giving an interview after death and using her likeness. It didn't matter that the AI radio show character was removed because there's no regulation, and this person, Mutez Dembski, is right to question AI replacing emotions and creativity. Lena Milana's situation is an ambivalent because the replacement of AI had her question her whole career, and not solely AI. As an artist, she made commissions for people drawing characters, but all this came to a halt after seeing generative AI on YouTube. The problem isn't the technology itself, but the apathy of it all to blur the line by saying nobody cares if you use AI. Bringing this back to her questioning her life choices, seeing that her mom was right all along not to be an artist. So I wrote this down in a script form when I was making this video, so I don't know why the actual article itself isn't there for reference while I'm reading this. Anyways, Annabelle's situation is similar, as she had a dream in writing, becoming a secretary, then moved her way to copywriting through blog posts on her garden center job, giving tips on agriculture. Months in, it was all a conspiracy to remove her, or she thought, as she heard the boss eavesdropping. Just put it in ChatGPT, he said, despite being told she wouldn't be replaced. But 6 weeks later, HR told her they were cutting her right before Christmas. So even though she got a new job in cancer research, which is amazing, she ended up regretting her career move that she initially made. So, anyways, segueing from there, I have also had a situation a couple years ago where at my dishwashing job, I overheard my boss saying behind the line, quote, "I can't wait till we can automate the dishwashers." That kept the dishwashing machine from the 70s after recently getting the renovation to the building. The dishwasher to the bar was renovated, but our station's dishwasher wasn't, and so they kept the crappy 70s dishwasher. Uh, but the boss said he doesn't know if he wants to get more corporate and franchise, which would probably mean AI and automation. So, just as an anecdote, a part of the statistic, I thought that was a scary but interesting moment to share. All right, moving on. The Great Reset by Klaus Schwab from the World Economic Forum stated that by 2035, referencing a 2016 study, up to 75% of jobs in retail, restaurants, 59% of entertainment might be replaced. COVID being the tragedy for their pre planned agenda for the digital contactless economy. Quote, the current pressures to move the no contactless economy forward, end quote, Schwab writes. But the new checkpoint for automation is being alarmed over is AI 2027 speculation about exponential growth of AI and its value, and competing with China, of course. But as you should all know, it's not about value, but money and cutting corners by using patterns and intuitive predictions of our likeliness, and as a strategy for the military, with the CEO simply at the helm of all our data. With that said, I don't care for the slurs for AI like clanker, but whatever. Um, for AI, because I think it's an issue actually, because we live in like these growing sensitive times where humans are sensitive and the AI is copying that. So it's just a little weird. Um, but now we are seeing a strange phase of our political structures around the world and the West, merging with current AI technology, on top of everyone having iPhones already since AI 2022, Open AI 2022. So, late this summer, the media was aghast at the fact that the Swedish Prime Minister, Ulf Kristersson, casually admitted to using ChatGPT instead of using a speechwriter. Quote, I use it myself quite often for second opinions. Um, Other hyperbolic statements from tech experts claim he's falling into the oligarch's AI psychosis. As we all know, in this video, this article, and elsewhere, the technology is merely replicating and reflecting. Quote, the more he relies on AI for simple tasks, the bigger the risk of an overconfidence in the system. An AI responsibility expert lays out, rightfully on the Hill, saying, we didn't vote for ChatGPT, obviously. All right, even in American politics are becoming dependent on AI. Some representatives like Thomas Massey claim it's worth doing, despite just making a joke on X. Kind of a waste of technology, if you ask me. Democrat Ro Khanna using it for petty validation. Quote, there was some speech I gave where in a couple of lines the people thought, wow, that's really good. He said 40% of American employees are using. Oh, okay. 40% of American employees are using AI in some way, and the aging political system is getting with the times, I guess. Texas Senator Ted Cruz, writing on the 10-year deregulation of restrictions from the Big Beautiful Bill, praises the AI for being thorough, what you wouldn't find by using staff members. But as much as Silicon Valley technology is built for efficiency, Ted Cruz is wrong to say the facts are clear because large language models, or LLMs, which is what the AI uses to process data and patterns from the internet. And so, when given an answer, it will give false information, sometimes known as hallucinations. Going back to Thomas Massey, where he was gaslit by the AI tripping, quote, it told me there was a Total Wine and More in Ashland, Kentucky, and no such thing exists. My speculation that because it's connected to the web and while absorbing info probably came upon false information, taking the AI for a ride into the wild west of the internet full of misinformation and not safe for work data, and the worst of the worst you can imagine, a parent's worst nightmare, and a terrible warning for what's to come. So, this is a little off topic, but Silicon Valley has used different strategies to keep people dependent. Uh, in this case study, where teachers like Matt Berry, who would normally be middle class until Silicon Valley drove up prices, causing a strain on the working class where they need two or three jobs. The tech boom giving teachers a chance to drive for Uber as chauffeurs for extra money. In 2014, Uber's motto was a bit disturbing and ironic. Teachers driving our future, also what is called the sharing economy. Matt Berry and others who feel the three job strain economy are right to say they shouldn't have to drive for Uber to sustain themselves. A lot of them felt like they won't be able to ever own a home, unable to have a happy child, and likely never be able to retire, outside of pension reform pushing it later and later in life. But unfortunately, Silicon Valley has a new strategy for education. All right. With the introduction of AI schooling, a Gallup study poll indicates 2,232 U.S. schools and a sample size of 60% of teachers use AI. As you can see, there's a lot of emphasis on saving time for better or worse. But just like we heard before, the Gallup researcher director eases worries by saying, um, augmenting teachers and not replacing them. Despite all the talks of time saved, quality of learning, help people with disabilities. The problem AI giving false information in the form of hallucinations in the classroom, and because AI is trained on humanity's patterns, it holds coded bias in the form of racism towards Asians, giving them lower test scores. The open AI models on our society, the data, the behavior, and the memes, in a federal world that lies to the public and withholds the Epstein files, this is also fed into the machine. Potential predatory behavior that rigged the system, where Trump got away with everything, loading in more hallucinations to the AI big lie. What more could we possibly expect from deregulation, specifically the potential of the Big Beautiful Bill's moratorium on regulation on AI?